Okay, as of now, we have completed the pre-steps of GRC and pre-steps of GRC access control ARM. So both steps we have completed. Today onwards, we will discuss the complete MSMP workflow, the heart of GRC, the complete 7 steps of how we will configure the MSMP workflow, and also in case any customization. Once we are good with a standard MSMP configuration, then we will start working on the BRF plus. Using BRF plus, we will customize the workflows. But some might be terminology or maybe data or words might be new, and also we will use during the standard MSMP in the presentation, but we'll make sure that first we will complete the standard MSMP, then we will go for a business rule framework, that is a custom workflows. Okay, GRC 5.3 has built basically for each um, like each workflow, each request type, we can say each request type we need to configure separate workflow path. Suppose create, change, and delete, like this. Each request type in 5.3 configure separate workflow path. Everything configuration would be separate. So later GRC 10 and 12, SAP has introduced MSMP configuration, MSMP path, that is multi-stage, multi-path. But the primary of this MSMP is we need to use only one process ID. Suppose the access request, GRAC access request. By using this process ID, we need to configure create, change, delete, lock, unlock, cutover, whatever the user administration related activities, everything we will configure using this process ID. No need to create a separate workflow. But process ID we will configure in the different stages based on our requirement in the later version, later stages, that is maintain path and maintain route mapping, that we will discuss probably tomorrow. But we will use only one workflow path. And also in this MSMP stages, we need to activate a standard BCSET GRC MSMP configuration. So with help of this, we will get the standard values of each stages, and the complete MSMP workflow. The workflow path has total 7 stages. The first one is a process global settings, which consists of complete workflow types. I have a slide for you. We'll go in detail stage by stage, but the overview is in the process global settings, we will get the complete workflow types. And maintain rules. Maintain rules, the second stage, maintain rules. Here, the standard initiator, notification, and agent, all the rule IDs, standard rule IDs are available in the maintain rules. Then the maintain agents, the third stage, the standard agents, meaning approvals, like manager. There are different type of approvals: manager, role, security stage, risk owner, reviewer, mitigation owner, mitigation controller, firefighter owner, firefighter controller. All these are called agents. So in the third stage, all the agents are available. The fourth stage is variables and templates. This is basically, it consists of SAP standard templates. If the request is approved or request is rejected or request is forwarded, there are a set of actions or events. For each event, SAP has provided predefined template. Later we can customize, that also we will discuss, but the stage objective is the standard notification templates are available, each specific. I repeat, each process ID is specific, because as soon as we selected the access request, the related email templates are available in the fourth stage. Suppose if we go for firefighter log or mitigation, the relevant notification templates are available in the fourth stage. This is completely a stage specific, sorry, process ID specific. And also, apart from the templates, this particular stage, we will also get variables. Variables means the passing through values like first name, last name, request number, provisioning. So there are some variables which is available. Based on that, we will design our template so that if I can submit based on the data source information in the first name variable, the variable name, my details will be reflected. If some other person will submit the request, there based on the data source, the details will be displayed. So this is kind of a value passing through values using variables. The standard variables are available in the fourth stage. Now the fifth stage, maintain paths. Here the complete MSMP configuration. See, we can say the complete ARM, MSMP is the heart of the complete configuration. Now we can consider only MSMP as an objective. The heart of the complete configuration will exist in the maintain paths. Here we will separate my create account workflow has path has number of stages. We can define the stages, basically 2 stages, 3 stages, 1 stage. Maybe my lock workflow has only 1 stage. I can define my firefighter workflow has only 1 stage. My change account should be 3 stages. Like this, the complete separation or segregation of the workflows in the maintain paths through divided number of stages. We can define the stages and also the scope. Manager has, we can say R&R, roles and responsibilities of each person we can define. And like what is the scope, whether we need to allow the particular person should the risk analysis or risk analysis is not required, or is there any confirmation. So confirmation is required before approving, or is there any username and password authentication is required. So everything will be, we can configure in the maintain paths. And also apart from task settings, we have also one feature called notification settings. So whatever the templates we configured, right, same we will use in the notify. Suppose a recipient, approver, all the approvers, or the particular approver, or any specified agent we need to send notification. Everything we will configure in the fifth stage. So the fifth stage is a very strong in the MSMP. Now The sixth stage, that is maintain route mapping. In the maintain route mapping, basically we will map what is the input value, what is the output value. So we will just align and adjust the paths in the maintain route mapping. Once we completed all the configuration settings in first of six stages, then last stage is we will generate a version. So as soon as the the complete configuration is fine, then we will get the new version. In case we won't get any, some tasks might be it won't get it, but there are some basic settings. But in the path level or maintain route mapping level, if we perform and the version was not generated, we need to make sure that the changes, whether it is reflected in the version or not, we need to check that. We need to perform appropriate testing. And also we have a facility, we can move these changes even though it is uh, Internet Explorer screen, not a web, it's a kind of a web screen. We have a facility to capture the changes in the transport request, and we will move across the landscape. Like development we will configure, then we will move changes to quality and production. That feature also we will get in the generate versions. Also, if you don't want to transport, there is also additional available. We can select that option and we will not move the changes to nest environment or across the landscape. So this is completely MSMP, a 7-stage overview. We'll discuss questions. If you have any questions, then we will move to stage by stage. Yeah, any questions? Mhm. No, no, it's not a SPRO. It's a web screen. We have a we can also configure in SPRO. There is a code available with the same navigation, but that is, we can say, that is an expert mode, like any developers, like workflow developers, right? So that they can, the same stages will be available in the same pro screen, but it is like a confusion. But the navigation what you are doing, same thing will be shown up in the pro screen. There is no difference, but this is kind of a end user perspective, we can say, user flexibility. That is kind of an expert mode in the pro screen. Yes, yes, do have. Okay, what we will do, we will go through few slides. No, I'm not sure. We'll see. That option is available. I'm also not sure whether we can do take the uh, screen share. We'll see. First, we will go through a couple of slides. Then probably. Okay, sure. Yeah, thank you. Actually, I want to show. of a NWBC, not NWBC, but it's a web-based screen. No, only BC set. No, no, only BC set. Only BC set. No, what is your question? This particular SICF service you are talking? Yeah, might be some BC. We have activated, right? GRC. There are three BCs. Three are web services. Yeah, yeah. One web service is required. One of the web services is required. Mhm. Okay. See, this question is tricky because until unless ideally it should be active, but as soon as we configure, till that time it won't check. But when we start provisioning, once we completed the complete approvals are within the workflow stages, like performing the risk analysis, then error log, or might be in the while performing the risk analysis, we will get error because of the system is down. Or while provisioning, once the approvals are completed, then the provisioning failure. Then that time we will notice. But ideally it should be active, but to configure in the 7 stages it is not required. That is one of the key steps. The system is should be up. Mhm, mhm. No, plugin should be there, no? Otherwise you cannot configure even ARA. No. Plugin should be there. No, plugin should be there. Yes, yes. No. That we will discuss. Yeah, we will. As of now, we will use. I will show in the what is the standard template and how we customize that. We have a separate session. That is a big session. So we will discuss. We as of now, the standard notifications are available with help of business set, and the complete notifications are available in variable templates. But we can have a facilitate to create custom notification templates as per our client standards, even client logo and client details. So we can customize that. We can achieve through SS61 that we will discuss later. Even we have a SAP has provided multiple languages also, not only English. So that process also we will discuss in the separate notification class. Mhm, mhm. Just review and approve. Just review and approve. Yeah. For this, I have keep it one slide. The terminology. So as of now, we hear the different terminology, right? It's just a review and approve. It's a kind of a decision making whether you can approve or reject your request. Yes. Anyone. Yes. Anyone. I'm in one. Yes. Yes. Yes, will do. Yeah. It should be a sequence. Hmm. No. Here, okay. Maintain route mapping is, see, we have a normal path. Okay, there might be some bypasses, right? Some kind of issues we can route. So on what stage we are routing and what condition we are routing, if it is a direct mapping, then we can maintain direct mapping. There are certain conditions, the possible conditions, then we will route the, or we will bypass the original path and we will move to connect it to another path to achieve the goal. So that complete details we will maintain in the maintain roadmap. Yeah. No. That depends. See how your that is. We can say mandatory, but how you are configuring your system, whether you are using the standard all the stages, or you want particular area you want to customize. But the 7 stages is mandatory. But what details are you are maintaining on particular stage, that depends whether you want to maintain different paths. Then your first 5 stages will be a standard, but whereas that depends, third and fifth stage might change. You want to involve more on the stages, but the complete 7 stages are mandatory as a configuration perspective. How you can use your complete 7 stages, that depends upon your SME knowledge. Yeah, requirement, based on that you can achieve with your SME. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. We will go to uh, step by step for each stage. We'll discuss more deeper, so that you will be able to understand what options are available on this. Then only we will design a workflow overview, like um, suppose we want to configure one workflow, what are the stages and what task settings and what notifications we want to send. Everything we will design, we will discuss, then we will implement in the system. That is what actually we planned. But to move the next step, the complete deeper knowledge is required on complete 7 stages. Okay. Any other questions? Moving to terminology. As of now, you hear there is a path, stage, MSMP, BRF plus, different terminology. So to understand, we will go through, we will discuss each path, the definitions. First, I will start with a process ID. It's a MSMP workflow that utilized to configure the specific process. Why I'm mentioning specific process here? This is a very keyword because SAP has provided each um, for a requirement. SAP has provided the specific path. Suppose my requirement is user administration activities. Then they have provided a separate process ID. My requirement is mitigation. Then SAP has provided separate mitigation workflow. My requirement is UAR, user access to be reviewed. Then based on that, SAP has provided a separate. Like this, the MSMP flow to configure a specific process, first we need to select the process ID, and it contains multiple request types, that is called MSMP, multi-stage and multi-path. For each request, multiple request types will be mapped and multiple stages. Everything will be mapped to process ID. And the basic thumb rule is you have only one initiator rule in the workflow. That is a thumb rule. The initiator rule, and for each one process ID would be only one. You cannot create multiple initiator rules. You can create, but only one active. That I discuss. So this is process ID. Then the basic definition, MSMP, multi-stage, multi-path. Now the path. Path is nothing but a series of steps that define approval flow from request starting to end. Here there are two paths we can call it. One is a standard path, that is the request submitted and all the necessary approvals should be completed. Once the approvals are completed, then automatically it will be provisioned. But whereas the detour path means there are certain specific conditions from the I need to perform the risk analysis. If the risk analysis is exist, then it will bypass. It will go to concerned person to review and approve or take appropriate either a mitigation or a remediation. You can remove the role or assign the mitigation control. That decision should be taken by a separate approval. So it cannot go its normal path. It should be diverted because of specific condition. So that is called detour path or routing path. You can also call the routing path. You might hear some, might be some of the books or some of the blogs. You maybe hear the routing path or detour path. Both should be same. This is one condition. Also, You want to provide access to specific system, but there is some certification mechanism you must complete before you are getting access. Example, solution manager. I'm just giving example. So some of the companies, they will maintain some compliance requirement. That is their compliance or audit requirement. You should complete your certification before you will get access. So this is the condition. So you can configure that. And in case if there is no role owner, we forgot to maintain a particular owner for a role, then we can bypass. So it's not like only a standard few conditions. There are different conditions based on our requirement. Customer, we can route our path from standard to a different path because of some specific condition. That is called detour path or routing path. So in the path, the series of steps means the series of stages. So each stage is an approval. That is called stage. Also we can call it a decision making. We can take a decision on that particular stage, either approve or reject at an approval level. That is called stage. It has mapped to SAP default approvers, or we can create our own approvers. Suppose manager, SAP will provide a role owner, but when it comes to SOD or a department head, as per the process, department head was not provided by SAP. It's not a standard. So we need to create that. We can create our own set of approvers based on the requirements. We can map at a stage level who is going to approve. So that is called a stage. Also, we discussed rule. So rule is nothing but a set of instructions. So basically we have a four rules are available in the standard SAP MSMP. One is initiator. It will basically determines the path and create or initiate the request. So the determined path is very, very important. Determined path means based on the request type, based on the company code, it will trigger basically. Suppose you want to create a user. So 01 is the request type. So my request type is 01, then it will determine create account path or new account path. If it is 02, then it will identify the change account path. If it is 06, it will identify firefighter path or EAM path or elevated, anything. So it will determine the initiator rule, the initial conditions, it will determines the path and initiate the request. If the initiator condition fail, basically you may observe 0001 evolution path MSMP initial errors. You might have seen this issue if in case you are working in the any of the custom environment or sorry support environment or any workflows. The error will be basically whatever your input feed values that is not properly mapped. There are some values which is pending. Because of that, it cannot determine what path it needs to initiate the request, so that it will trigger or sorry it will throw an error. So you need to correct your input values. Similarly, agent rule. So agent means based on the stage. Suppose firefighter stage, the firefighter owner can approve. So security stage, security person should approve. So similarly, role owner will approve manager. Kind of approver. Based on the approver, it will determines the approver on each stage. How we are mapping. Based on that, the request will go to the appropriate owner. And notification variable determines whom should we need to notify, whether a requester or approver or any other person we should have to, we need to notify. We can determine the person, recipient we can call, and routing rule. Based on a specific condition, it will route for the separate path. So that condition, the specific condition would be either a role owner or risk analysis or training, or might be any system specific, if it is particular system specific, or maybe a risk level. My risk is high, you need to go to this particular person. If my risk is medium, you need to go to this particular person. So it might be anything. If the role criticality level, role sensitive access, suppose if my role is sensitive access, criticality level is very high, then you need to go to particular path. It can be anything, but a specific condition for routing your original path to separate path. When it comes to the agents, here has two kind of agents. One is approver agent, basically, who will review and approve, and a notification agent. We can also have a facility to create a notification agent, because suppose um, suppose you want to send a mail to particular group of people, DL we can call, distribution list, some security group. You just want to send one notification. So we will create a notification event based on the distribution list name, kind of security DL as an agent, but we will use that agent only for notification purpose. Our auditor might be some sensitive access system. So as soon as the system access will be completed, then it should notify to that particular compliance group. This person has requested and so and so request has approved, and this person has access for sensitive information. I'm just giving only example. So the purpose of this notification agent will be, we can send a notification to particular group or particular person, only that agent is notification purpose. I will give example. Not recently, in our past project, we have achieved this to one of the non-SAP system. So that is a third-party system. Once the several stages completed, we want to send a notification to distribution list. That is not within the system, but within the company. So that DL is a separate DL. So our responsibility is only the first and second stage, two levels approval only. Since it is within the company environment, we have to take care of first two stages. But whether after the request, whether the user has created on the system or not, we don't know. That is not the requirement. So we have created one agent and we have maintained notification agent. is the notification email, email is, we have maintained SU01, the complete DL. DL is, we have maintained in the email notifications. So as soon as the request first stage and second stage completed, once the request is approved, then we are sending email with this notification agent to the third party group. So recently we have achieved this requirement. So there is a possibility. And stage configuration, each stage has a specific set of settings and notification settings we can configure in the stage. And final customization, the customization is required. We will use the plus. In this BRF plus also business rule framework, we will use only flat by flat rule. So that is a very simple and very easy. Once your design, the complete design is ready, MSMP is a very easy. And before going to system, I strongly recommend, before going to system, first you will put it in the paper, you will complete your design, then it will be very easy for you to configure within span of time. Don't do experiments while you are working on the first stage. You want to configure, you can go this path. Initially, I'm saying, don't go in the system and try to do experiments, because it will give. That is where so many members, they got confused, and uh, they think that they thought that might be MSM would be very tough. No, as soon as your design is ready, then it will be very easy. Trust, within 2 months you will understand how it will be very easy. You trust me. So any questions? Yeah, definitely. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, okay, okay. No, no, no. That you will understand starting from this slide. You will understand. Yeah, yeah. You will understand. You will understand. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Okay. The first stage we will go to process global settings. Let me. I will switch on to slide mode. Okay. In this first stage, okay, the process ID. This is what I was talking about. The process ID. All the process IDs will be available in this particular first stage, process global settings. The process ID, standard process IDs are GRAC access request HR. If it is HR system, probably uh, okay, because of UR I have not captured. The similar way, SAP GRAC access request, instead of HR, the first process ID would be SAP GRAC access request. access request approval workflow that is available. The second one is HR object. So similarly, for mitigation control assignment, we have a separate workflow. Mitigation control maintenance, we have a separate workflow. To create the mitigation control, we can set parameter to maintain 1061 or something. The parameter we can enable so that it will automatically trigger the workflow for in case of any new mitigation control creation, updation or deletion, anything. Similarly, firefighter log review. Firefighter log review, we have a separate workflow. So function, if you want to create any function risk, we will enable the workflow. So the role approver, we have seen this in BRM session. So you want to create any new role using BRM, then it will trigger approval. This is where you have to define the role methodology, the complete steps. But the role methodology will be changed based on your role design. Suppose if it is a business role, your role methodologies will be different. If it is a single, derived or technical, your role methodologies will be different. Because of easy maintenance, the design, based on your design, the complete role methodology steps will be changed. So similarly, SOD review, EVR review. So this is, if you remember, get clean, stay clean and stain control, the implementation methodology. The stain control perspective, we will discuss on SOD and EVR review. We will configure EVR review and SOD review as a part of stain control. Once we will deliver to the customer the complete project, then for ongoing maintenance, the risk is controlled and most of the roles are inherent risks are remediated and few are mitigated. Now user level, role level risk is free, workflow configured, and we have established the business role management or a mechanism should be any new role should be SOD free. Once everything is under control, then we just need to review the existing users via SAP user access review request. In case risks, then SOD review, but most of them are SOD review were not implemented, but many projects they will use user access review request every 3 months, every 6 months, every annual, that based on the user count, because it will trigger and it will trigger for each active user. So based on the user count, companies will perform this activity, and there are audit and compliance, everything will be involved and aligned. So all these are called process IDs, the standard process IDs, and all these process IDs will be available in the process global settings. So the process global definitions and the rule ID. The rule ID. This is a process ID. The standard rule ID. This is where the set of instructions were mapped. The complete instructions, step-by-step logic, how this workflow will work internally, that will be mapped with rule ID. And the rule description, because since it is initiator rule, everything will be default initiator agent. Now, apart from the process IDs, the first stage has only one user can change workflow at time. Like maintenance is allow only one person. It cannot allow multiple person to change. One person is working, then automatically it will go to display for the others. And the tab. In the first stage only, the facility is available whether you want to check the workflow settings, whether it is a display mode or change mode. Everything will be on the first stage. If you are in say sixth stage or seventh stage, any of the second stage, you want to modify, you are not able to see the appropriate settings, then you have to come to first stage, you have to click on the display or change. Then only you will be able to modify the workflow. The settings will be exist in the first stage. And also sorry, the first stage, yeah, the first stage also has the notification facilities. So before we discussed one notification facilities, that is a stage level. This is a global level. So why the difference is mean the initial stage, there are two events in the global stage which is available. One is a request submission and the request closure, end of the request. That we will consider as a global notifications. These two notifications are available in the process global settings. We can set that. Okay, only these two notification events. Even some of the notifications available, but primarily we will use these two notifications. And the first notification settings, we have maintained recipient ID as GRAC requester. Trust me, always in the first stage, you will maintain GRAC requester in your configurations for a future prospect. Don't maintain GRAC user. We can send a notification to user as well, but don't mention your recipient ID GRAC underscore user in the global notifications. You can ask why. Because there are certain audit requirements you want to remove role from the mass number of users forcefully. Certain situations definitely will exist in your project, not for today, definitely tomorrow, if not after 6 months. Definitely there is a requirement. That time, if your notification recipient is user, then user will get notification. You have submitted remove request, role removal request, automatically the notification will go to user. So they will escalate. See, nobody will agree to remove their access, but we cannot wait for user. We have a strict instructions from the auditors and compliance team. So if maintain recipient ID is user, you cannot achieve that requirement. If you are not able to remove, suppose if you have submitted one request, 60 users, as soon as the request submitted, then 30 users, then you will get bombarded with incidents. If you are working, you are not able to achieve within the time, then it will be an audit issue on your security group. So to avoid all these issues, you must maintain recipient ID as requester instead of GRAC user. Requester means who is submitting the request. That is, on behalf of them, we will submit the request. So we will only get the notification. But make sure we will attach the compliance agreement. We will attach request. but make sure always the recipient ID in the global notifications is GRC requester. So apart from notification, we have a escape conditions. Since we are automizing the complete process, like the user administration activities, now we are automizing the complete process. So in this process, what will happen? There are two major possibilities for the auto provisioning failure of a request. One is whether the appropriate approver was not mapped. Suppose if the manager, don't consider manager, because if the manager is locked, a request cannot be submitted. Don't take manager. Maybe SOD, maybe role owner. So if the role owner was not mapped, then approver not found. System cannot found the approver. Then it will fail and request is in pending status. It cannot be completed. But user doesn't know what was happened. Maybe the request cancelled, but user cannot understand. But user assume that as soon as he will go and check the status, the request status, it should be pending status. So he will check and later he will submit an incident. My request is pending. This is so and so request number and it is pending. So could you please complete the request? But as a security team, to go and request administration, we have to forward the request. We have to check the status and what is the issue and everything. So instead of that, the approver not found, we will maintain separate escape path. And this escape path, we will create a separate escape path name and we will map to security team, complete security team. So that it will comes to notification to our work inbox and as well as email DL box. Sorry, email DL. So that we realize there is something issue in the particular request, might be approver not found. Based on audit log, we will check so that if an approver was not found or mapped, then we will upload the master data appropriate person so that the next request will be easy of maintenance. Until unless it should not notify to us, we have to go and check the request and we have to analyze the audit log. Then we have to understand the issue. It will take time consuming. So instead of that, we will enable the approver not found. The second condition, auto provisioning failure. So this is where there are so many scenarios will come to picture in the auto provisioning failure. Suppose the first one is might be everything approval completed because of RFC. RFC, the system is down. So auto provisioning failure. System is up, but you have maintained the RFC. You are using the RFC user between GRC to S4HANA or ECC or any other system. The RFC user has not proper authorization to assign the role. Because of authorization, it will be auto provisioning failure. There are certain conditions, might be user group is one of the condition. So you have submitted the termination request, but the terminated user group is not existing in the backend system. You are creating in the GRC system, you have mapped to S4HANA system, but that user group is not available in the backend system. Auto provisioning failure. So you have submitted mass number of roles. So suppose say 30 roles. So each role has a composite, it's kind of a composite profile. So might be now I think SAP has introduced no, but earlier it was 3 tool profiles maximum. So if it is more than the buffer, it's auto provisioning failure. If it is business role, the environment you have changed instead of all to production, it's auto provisioning failure. It's not a particular scenario. There are various scenarios. You can check by understanding auto provisioning failure. There might be so many issues. So later, based on the issue, we have to realize what is the appropriate action. Suppose SAP as we discussed one of the scenario in the maintain provisioning settings. Create user in the maintain provisioning one of the screen. Suppose a user is submitting the request instead of create user, new user request, he has submitted change user. So it will verifies once the approvals are completed, it will verifies the system user account does not exist. Then it's auto provisioning failure. So to avoid such issues, SAP has introduced that is a major one of the major issue in GRC 10 and 10.1 earlier versions because the user doesn't know. He will just submit the request. That is what he was getting petty. So SAP has introduced one option in the provisioning settings. If the user submitting the request, even the change, it will check and it will create the user and assign the roles. So like this, any configuration issues we will achieve and we will take appropriate actions within the time based on the auto provisioning failure. So mainly 2 things. So that is what we covered in the escape conditions and route to security team. Any other questions? Okay. Apart from the standard settings, uh, like notification and escape conditions, there is also escalation conditions, but I have not seen nobody is maintained escalation templates in the process global settings. In case of any escalations, that will be managed in the maintain paths, stage 5. But generally won't prefer escalations in stage 1. Why? Because take an example. If we maintain template ID and escalation recipient, the person who is maintained maybe one day, take an example one day from, sorry, 2 days. You can take example 2 days. So the recipient will receive notifications if we maintain in the process global settings. Create request was not approved 2 days, the recipient will get notification. And one person. Change request, the same person. The request type might be any of the request within 2 days that was not approved and it will trigger to the particular recipient. And recipient, the escalation recipient will get more email notification. So he will get confused because it has mapped almost 10 request types. But in the stage 5, we discussed each path has a separate notification settings. If you want the particular level, we can configure the escalation. So only the within the request type, the particular person will get the notification. So that is very easy instead of global. That is what most of the companies they won't prefer global escalations in the first stage, process global settings. So any questions? Which one? This one? Okay. See, as soon as you can enable this option, you will get multiple options. Okay. Based on that, you can send whom should to notify, what template needs to be sent, and what recipient needs to be maintained. I will show in the system this one. Okay. But generally, it will not configure in the global. That is what. I'll show in the system when system is available, but I will show in the system. Yeah. But any other questions on the first stage? Actually, I'm planning to stop here. Second stage has so many topics, so we'll discuss tomorrow. So any questions?